Run With Chestnut. Welcome to the Run With Chestnut podcast, where we talk about books, fitness, finance, and anything else we are into. This is episode 14, where we're talking about intro to nutrition, specifically workout nutrition, what you should eat before, during, and after a workout. Should you even eat? What should you eat? Bananas, grapefruits, whatever else. Today, I'm joined by two of my best buddies in the entire world. Simon, say hi.
Hello.
He's calling in from Brooklyn. And Melissa from Montenegro. Hello, Melissa.
Hello, all my fitness-intimidated friends.
Perfect. Melissa is not the stereotypical fitness person, which is why I think her presence is incredibly valuable here, because she can ask questions that I would not think people would want to know about, if that makes sense. Anyway, before we get started, Simon, you got some goodies delivered to your house the other day.
I did get some goodies delivered to me.
Yeah, wanna care to share to the audience what you got?
Sure, I got a vibrating massage machine called. It feels like a gun, and what it does is it basically you apply it to a muscle on your body, and it vibrates. It's like a massage machine,
that's right.
basically. And then I also got a vibrating foam roller, which if you guys know what foam rolling is, it's basically if you have any tightness, any part of your body, it's this cylindrical shaped. It's shaped like a tube, and it has you basically sit down on it, or you put your whatever body part you have that's sore, you would basically roll on it. So you'd roll back and forth. Chesco, do you want to add to that?
No, that's basically it. So I've used both of these things. They're both made by a company that has a long track record in making things that vibrate, like workout stuff.
I was very confused about where that was, like, why would you need a vibrating thing for
okay.
fitness?
Let me tell you, it is game changing.
It's really cool.
If you go from a regular foam roller to a vibrating one, or like a regular sort of thing that you dig into your quad or something, to one that actually vibrates, it is insane. It feels amazing.
What's crazy is that, so I'm vibrating my calves on that foam roller. My feet are vibrating like crazy. Your
whole body vibrates. I mean, because especially if it's like near a bone, your whole skeleton is vibrating.
Yeah, I can feel my feet tingling as this is going on. And what's interesting is that it doesn't really. Well, okay, maybe I should test it out when I run next time. But when I did it yesterday, it wasn't really tight. I didn't really feel much tightness, so I didn't really feel the pain that I would normally feel if I'm doing a regular foam roller. It feels kind of different because also this vibrating foam roller is softer than a regular foam roller would be. So,
or at least the regular one that you normally use.
Yes.
What level of vibration did you have it on? The lightest?
I put it on high.
Okay, yeah, that's a good way to do.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Matt. So we're gonna do an episode, maybe the week after this or the one after that. We'll do an episode on recovery, like post-workout recovery, and different tools you can use. So we'll check in with you, Simon, since you just got these. As you use them for the next week or two, we'll check in with you, see how you like them, if they're helping at all, if they're worth people to spend the money to get them. But anyway, little preview for that. All right, cool. We were talking about nutrition. Simon.
Yes.
Okay, I feel like we're loading up on our Simon love today. But we're going to go to Simon with another thing. Simon, you just ate at one of my favorite fast food places. And when I say favorites, I go there like once a year maybe.
Yeah.
You went to Popeyes.
I did go to Popeyes, and it was my first time.
That was your first time ever?
Yes.
Melissa, have you ever been to Popeyes?
Have not.
Load that chicken from Popeyes. That one.
Yep.
The commercial.
I've seen a lot of ads for it, but
yeah, you have.
Not a bit. Yep.
All right, real quick, Simon, what'd you get, and did you like it?
Okay, so I got. It was my cousin Denai, and my cousin had been wanting me to try this for a very long time, and so we went yesterday, and we got the spicy chicken sandwich, which by the way was amazing, and then the other things I didn't really care so much as because, for example, we got the dark meat chicken, like the 4-piece, I believe it was.
Like tenders or?
No, like the in bone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I wasn't too crazy about it, just because like when you felt it, you can feel the grease and stuff from it.
When you say the word grease, it's like the word sounds greasy the way you say it. So good job with the expressiveness of your verbiage, Simon. Continue.
Yes.
You're like, you could feel the grease.
Yes, you could feel the grease just literally in your. It feels it was very oily. And I've had fried chicken before, so. But anyway, the chicken sandwich was a highlight. Everything else was okay. My cousin ordered the popcorn shrimp. I was never really too crazy about popcorn shrimp to begin with. The biscuit was really
I
good.
know this is not the focus of what we're talking about today, but can you please explain to me what popcorn shrimp is?
It's
I cannot be the
basically
only one.
fried shrimp shaped like a small ball, like it's like a popcorn.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's like shaped of popcorn, but it's like deep fried shrimp.
Yeah, and the biscuit was good.
Yeah, if you have the biscuits are awesome.
Yes.
If you have like a really good hot sauce, the popcorn shrimp is good because like you can, it's a food designed to consume condiments. That's
I had it with tartar sauce and it was good. It was good with tartar sauce.
It was okay.
Yeah,
right. You're not a huge fan of hot sauce, are you?
No, I am. It depends on what hot sauce. For example, I'm not a fan of buffalo sauce.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I do like, for example, the hot sauce that they put when you get Middle Eastern food.
Yeah.
Like that kind of hot sauce. There's other kinds that I should try, but I just don't like buffalo sauce, which is normally what the standard for hot sauce.
Right, at least buffalo wings and stuff. Well, obviously buffalo wings is a buffalo. I will say the top two, at least in my mind recently, that I've been to, top two chicken sandwich spots. Popeyes and now it's escaping me. Chick-fil-A.
Right. Okay, now I tried Chick-fil-A before. I'm not a huge fan. I'm sorry.
Ooh, but did you try the spicy chicken sandwich? No, sorry, the spicy chicken sandwich deluxe. Did you try that?
No.
All right, well then you didn't try it.
Oh, okay, because I had a chicken sandwich and it was just a piece of bread with the chicken inside. Oh.
But if you looked at the menu, it would have said that's all it was.
I didn't.
You had to get the deluxe to get like the sauce and the lettuce and the things like
that. Damn. Okay.
All right, Simon. See, there's attention to detail, man. That's
horrible. Right. Why would they do that though? Why is that even
some people want just bland stuff because then they can add like their own condiments and things that are not during the pandemic, but normally there's like a bar that you can add all whatever you want.
That or it's an easy way to lie and say that it's healthy. But anyway,
it's like when they give you a burger without fries. Like how dare they? I'm sorry. I have.
But
that's fine. But it's still.
Yeah, because it's not like default with fries.
Well, neither is Popeyes.
Yeah, exactly true. Yeah, neither is Popeyes.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
Whole different type of nutrition topic.
Don't eat French fries.
Yeah.
Oh
man, I know. There are definitely people who like. You see on Facebook posting about how they like eat a burrito in the middle of an Ironman triathlon or something like that, like as their special.
That sounds painful.
Well, okay, so during a long race, you have there's though they're called different names in different races and things like that, but basically you get a bag that you can stash stuff that you can pick up during the race, and so a lot of people put like burritos and stuff in the bag so they can like look forward to it, like 10 hours into a 15-hour race or something like that. That's kind of insane. But anyway.
That's
all right,
also kind of brutal.
Or not post. Pre, intra, and post-workout nutrition.
Yeah.
I thought this was a pretty good topic to tackle for a few reasons. One, there's a lot of questions that both I see out like on the forums and Facebook and things like that about nutrition, like workout nutrition in general. Melissa, you asked me a question about a post-workout nutrition thing like a week or two ago, right? Which we'll get to. I don't know. I feel like it's a topic that a lot of people either misunderstand or have a lot of questions about, right? So let's take it one step at a time. You guys can tell me like what works for you guys, or if you have any questions. Actually, yeah, let's start with Simon. So we talked about pre-workout stuff.
We did,
right? So let's frame it in the situation that you brought to me like a week or two ago.
Yeah, sure. So, okay. Now, granted, I do know better, but I didn't do it, which I should. And that's also because I keep forgetting to buy. But before I work out, traditionally I would usually, I would usually eat a banana. And for the past couple of times when I ran, I did not eat a banana. And I would run, and then okay. So first this happened where I would, right after running, I wouldn't eat anything until I got home, which would take like about an hour. And then I'd come home, shower, and eat. So probably maybe like hour and a half.
So back up for a second. So you didn't eat, so this is early in the morning.
Yes.
You didn't eat anything when you woke up.
Yes.
And so you'd go and run. Obviously
Yes.
drink water.
Yes.
And then you wouldn't eat anything afterwards until you got home, which was like an hour later.
Yes.
Okay, continue.
And then I'd eat. But still, even if I ate after that, what happened was I'd feel this horrible, horrible sensation where my whole body just crashed, and it feels like it's exhausted. And like my brain, I can't concentrate on anything. Tell me that feeling if you guys ever had coffee and you drink too much, or you drank coffee and then a few hours later your body just crashes, and then you feel like you need more. It's that feeling that I've had. And I brought this up to Francesco, and he suggested eat something right after the run, at least maybe like 15, 20 minutes after, because that's how long it takes me usually to get what I need to get. And so what I did was, after the run, I would then go to this bagel shop not far from the park, and I'd get myself bacon and egg on a bagel. And I'd eat that. So I started doing that. And then this Tuesday, I remembered to have a banana before my run and then eat right after as well.
So how'd you feel? How'd you feel after that?
So after that, even if I ate, I still kind of felt a crash. But then when we got home and I ate again, the crash was gone. So that probably means that I need to eat more than just that bacon and egg on a bagel. Or
Right.
So wait, hold on. Are you saying that you're supposed to be eating right before and right after? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, everybody works differently, so I can't speak for anyone else. For me, I think I should, yes.
So, okay, so here it addresses a few things, right? So a few caveats. First, you're coming into this situation not training like every single day,
Yeah.
right? Which is how I feel most people are coming into their situations. Not
Right.
crazy training hours every day. So understanding that you not eating anything before you run, not eating anything during, and not anything after until like an hour afterwards, you are basically sucking the like. Okay, so another caveat for this episode, we're going to try to keep it like extremely unscientific and very basic. It's about blood sugar levels, right?
Yeah.
And you not putting anything in your body for it to consume. Yes, it has storage. You're not going to starve to death, and like nothing horrible is going to happen. But you're basically you're making it an ideal situation for your whole body to crash, right? Which is why it's important to eat.
Right.
If you eat before you run, it gives your body something to replenish. If you eat after, you're you're late on the curve, right? Like your body's already forced to
feed off
of whatever it's feeding off of.
Yeah.
But it can mitigate the amount that you crash and how long you crash for. Ideally, you would have something before and after, right? Because like the only reason why I would tell someone to train on a fasted state, meaning not having any food in their system, the only reason why I would tell someone that is if they were doing an easy run or like an easy workout and they wanted to somehow like get more, fat adapted, which is kind of a trendy / controversial thing these days. If you're like if you're like a long endurance athlete, and you want to work on that, it's complicated. It's definitely not it's not a beginner thing. I don't do that. And I work out kind of more than most people. Suffice it to say that there are very few reasons why you should be working out with absolutely nothing in your stomach. Even if your goal is losing weight, there's a saying that many coaches say, which is fuel the performance, right? And if you have to diet, don't diet on the bike, or don't diet while you're training. Diet the other times, right? Meaning, if you want to lower your calories, lower them not when you're exercising. So if your running is in the morning, eat a bunch of food around then, that's totally fine. Eat less for dinner. Like if you need to eat less at some point during the day, eat less not around your workout.
Got it.
Right? Because if you don't fuel your workout properly, you will not be able to excel or push your performance during that workout as well as you normally could have, right? And a subpar performance equals subpar adaptation and subpar calorie burn, which means you end up burning less calories anyway because you're not able to like run as fast or bike as fast or whatever, right? So whatever, we can go down, like list all these reasons, but the point is, if you want to lose weight and you want to get in a caloric deficit, meaning eat less calories than you burn, do that at a time that is not centered around a workout, right? That's pretty much the only reason why I would think of someone wanting to eat less, is for the weight loss.
Right.
Right? Which then leads to the question, okay, what do you eat and when? Right?
Yeah.
Is that the
Yeah.
logic? Am I missing anything before we get into that? Melissa? Or?
No.
Okay. So you ate a banana, right? When did you eat it?
I ate it, so let's see, we woke up at, 6 o'clock-ish? No, 5:30, 5:45. I would say I ate it around, 6.
And we started running 7.
Yeah.
Okay, that's about good. So the convention is solid foods, right, that are not particularly fat laden. Takes your body 2 to 3 hours to digest.
Wait, define solid foods.
Rice, potatoes.
Not liquidy
so-
foods. Not like milk.
So an apple
or-
is not a solid food because it has juice?
It is, but it's a lot simpler to digest, and the sugars are a lot more available than saying like eating a bowl of rice. You know.
Okay.
And we can determine simple versus complex carbs and different things like that. But basically, foods that like non-fruit foods, right? So things that you would consider a meal. Again, sweet potatoes.
Can you say things that you prepare versus things that you can eat? No, that's not good.
Well,
Sure.
technically, bread you don't prepare. Well, I mean,
No, you do.
buy
You
from
have
the
to bake
store.
it.
Right.
Bake it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, but it's
No, that's fair. So like, carbs or a food like that, even like oatmeal, more fibrous vegetables. The fiber count also slows down digestion. But basically, foods like that, you want to give your system at least more like 3 hours to digest, right? And if there is fat in those foods, such as avocados or dairy or things like that, then that could extend it out to even like 4 or 5 hours, the time it takes to digest, right?
Oof.
Think of it as like fat is basically, oil is fat, I guess, but like think of it as oil, where it kind of like makes whatever you're digesting more gooey, so it like slows down the digestion. That's not scientifically accurate, but that's the concept, right? The more fat there is, the slower the digestion is, the longer it stays in your stomach, which is good in the sense that if you're trying to lose weight, eating more fat will make you feel more full for longer because it sits in your stomach for longer, right? So for like a weight loss thing, eating more fat is a good thing.
That's
And
so
I feel
ironic.
like a lot of people would have misconceptions on that, though.
Right,
Should
people
we go-
think eating fat makes them fat. That's not
Right.
true, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
and then right after that, we'll define what
Fat.
macronutrients are,
Right.
fats and whatever.
Yeah.
But basically, fats are good for you, but don't eat it right before a workout.
Yes.
Most people, me included, work out in the morning, right? Which means you probably don't want to wake up 3 hours before your workout just to eat food. Because if you have a 7 a.m. run like we did, that's a 4 a.m. wake up, right? Or 3:30 a.m. and then 30 minutes to prepare the food at 4 a.m. So it's unreasonable to say, okay, everyone 3 hours before you work out, eat, food. So you can do sort of a simpler snack about an hour before you work out. And that's where something like a banana would come in, or an apple, or, if you want to have a packaged product, then like a waffle, or a rice cracker with like honey on or something that's a carb, which, right, carbs are sugars, like fast to digest, nothing too much fiber, because fiber also slows down digestion.
Do you want to go, when you say waffle, I don't want people to get confused with Eggos unless you're saying that that's okay.
You probably want to, that's more closer to like the 3 hours and the 1 hour, but yeah, I'm thinking like those sports waffles, like honey waffles and things like that. And again, people digest things at different rates, right? So this is all just an estimate, ballpark. But anyway, so that's about an hour, and then if you want to eat something like 15 minutes before you work out, then that's when gels and goos and those type of nutrition-specific, aka packaged cake frostings.
Wait, you said before or during?
No, that's about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes before you start working out.
Oh, before, okay.
It's like a gel or something. If you want to take it, you don't have to, if you want to. And then you work out, and let's talk about, intra-workout nutrition. Basically, okay, the science says that if your workout is shorter than, say, 60 to 90 minutes, then you don't need to replenish any sort of, carb or sugar or anything like that, because your muscles and liver have enough stored in them, right? And technically, scientifically, that's true. That being said, the longer you go without replenishing, the higher the RPE gets, which is rate of perceived exertion. Meaning, you might be able to run for 90 minutes without replenishing anything, but it'll feel harder, right?
Yeah.
So from an interest of performance, because again, even if your goal is not performance, even if your goal is just losing weight, the higher performance, the more calories you'll burn, aka the more weight you'll lose, theoretically. So performance is good all around, right? Regardless of what your goal is. It would be a good idea if you have a 90-minute run, a 2-hour run, yes, replenish with something. And that something would be something like a gel or a carbohydrate, drink mix. Or if it's like a really easy bike ride, then maybe you can have little solids, like a, peanut butter square or even like half a banana or something, Basically, yeah. The easier the workout is, the more solid the food can be. The harder the workout is, if it's a super intense workout, then you basically want all liquids because, it's easier for your stomach to digest liquids and solids, obviously.
Do you want to tell them what kind of liquids?
Basically anything. So, we think, like sugar is bad. Sugar most of the time is bad if we're not working out, right? If you're just sedentary your whole life, sugar might not be the best thing for you. If you're actually working out, sugar is what your body needs. So basically things with sugar in it, which is a very, very fast form of energy. So we can get into like fructose to glucose ratios and things like that. Forget about it. We can get into it another time. Basically, that's the role that these like sports drinks would play, right? Whether it's like a Gatorade or a Powerade or anything like that, or even like fruit
And I'm
juice.
guessing when you say sugar, this does not mean a Twix bar.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
Well, okay, so if you want to do candy bars, right, look at the pack, and this is where you like can read the actual packaging, right? Read the carb, protein, fat contents, the fiber content, the sugar content, and you'd be surprised how similar candy bars are to quote unquote like healthy workout bars. I would say that the one place where it kind of differs is the fat content. So the workout bars tend to be kind of lower in fat, higher in protein.
Yeah.
If you're doing a really intense workout, you shouldn't have solid stuff anyway. And besides the fact that it might not be the best for you, like a Twix bar.
Yeah.
But anyway, does that make sense, Melissa?
Kind of. So you're saying that it's not actually as bad as one would assume because, kind of like with the eating fats makes you fat misconception. You're just like, oh, of course it's junk food, it's sweets, so they're bad for you. You're saying that doesn't necessarily have to be the case as long as you're smart about it and read the labels?
I would say that.
And if you're not like running for like the Olympics or something.
And I think it also depends on the situation. I think he's talking about the days that you work out.
It depends. It depends on what you need the food for. So
right. I mean, for fuel for working out, like during or before or whatever.
So fuel is not protein or fat, right? And again, we're not talking about like fat adapted athletes. Most people are not fat adapted. Forget about that. If I'm trying to fuel a workout, it means I want to ingest something that gives me gives my body something that can turn into energy, right? I'm looking for carbs / sugar, right? I don't want to be eating a protein bar if I'm looking for carbs, especially because protein will be slower digesting than carbs, right? I don't want to be eating a candy bar that has a ton of fat in it, because remember we just talked about fat, right? It really slows down digestion, even if it has a lot of sugars in it or carbs. So you need to eat for the purpose that you have, right? Post-workout, after the workout's done, if you want to get some protein in to, you know, maybe like offset some atrophy or whatever the reasoning is, then that would be the role of a protein powder, preferably mixed with some carbs, or a protein bar or whatever. During a workout, I would not have a protein bar. So they have bars that are meant, you know, like, you just read, you know, this is where reading a package is, right? We can name out a whole bunch of different brands, but there'll be new brands coming out next month, next year. It's just, they all kind of are similar. You just have to read the package and see, okay, is this carbs or
I'm sorry,
fats?
are you saying that candy bars are... Oh, wait, I think you did say that, right? Candy bars are kind of like protein bars, except they have more...
I would say some candy bars are very similar to workout. Like, just because it says performance bar or workout bar doesn't necessarily mean that it is good for you, first of all, like healthy, or that it will help your performance. You know? Like, you can get the most, like, trendy, top-of-the-line protein bar. It's still not good to eat during a workout because you need carbs during a workout, not proteins. So, one, don't discount something just because it's not meant for performance, aka drinking a Coca-Cola during a race might not be the worst thing if that's all you have, because it is sugars and things like that, right?
Right.
Versus just because something is specifically performance branded does not necessarily mean it will improve your performance. Just because it's branded that way, if it's the wrong thing you need at the time. If it has tons of fat or tons of protein, not something you should have in the middle of a workout where you need fast carbs. So I'm just saying, don't pay attention to the branding, don't pay, you know, and just choose something based on the purpose that you need for it.
And then how should people, like, when people look at the label, and you said for them to look at the amount of fat it has, what should they be looking for? What are the numbers?
So, again, this varies very widely for people, right? Let's start with carbs. If you have, if you look at a product, right, and you look at how many grams, it's basically, it's set on grams of carbs, or grams of anything, grams of protein, grams of fats. I hesitate to throw out numbers just because we're trying to get very basic, right?
Right. Oh, I guess it depends on people's weight.
Yeah, look for, so look for products where the macronutrient, right? So a macronutrient is a protein, a carb, or a fat. Those are like big macronutrients, right, as opposed to micronutrients. Look for products that have macronutrients in the range of what you want it to do, right? So if something has 20 grams of protein, which is about average for, let's say, like a protein bar, right? 20 grams of protein, I don't know, 15 grams of carbs, and like 3 grams of fat. I'm just completely making up numbers. That's not something you want to eat during a ride.
Yeah.
Or during a hard workout. Versus something that has, 1 gram of protein, 50 grams of carbs, and 1 gram of fat. That's something more akin to what you would want to consume while exercising.
Yeah.
Right? But again, if your workout is short/intense, you can get away with just liquids. Just, drinking Gatorade or drinking a Coke or drinking, like, non-solids, right? Solids would come into, like, I consume solids if my workout is longer than 2-3 hours, or if my race or my event is longer than 2 to 3 hours. That's when I start introducing solids. Like, even during a marathon, the most solid I get is a gel. All right? So, yeah, there you go. Is that good? Does that answer?
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, cool. And then the last idea is what you eat after a workout, so post-workout nutrition. This is when you might want to introduce some proteins, seeing as we had a lot of carbs before and during the workout, theoretically during. Post-workout, having some proteins with carbs. So now, the importance of post-workout nutrition is kind of hyped up. I will say the only time it's really necessary to have something right after you're done working out is if you plan on working out later on the same day, right? If you plan on if I have an AM workout at 7, I have another workout at 2 p.m., which most people don't, you don't really need to eat something right afterwards because you have 24 hours to replenish till you hit your next day 7 a.m. workout. Or if you're not working out for another 2 days, you have 48 hours, right? So...
But now what about what I was saying before in terms of my experience?
You're crashing.
Yeah.
If you had fueled properly before and had some food, at some point afterwards, you probably wouldn't have crashed. Because your blood sugars would have still been high / like within a good zone. You would not need to, your body would not have crashed. Again, we're talking averages, right? We're talking generally.
Right. But I ate that banana on Tuesday and I still felt the crash a little bit, even though I had the bagel afterwards. So
then have more. Before or during.
Oh, okay.
And then how does water... I know I asked about water a little bit last time, but I know you told me that you can drink... Yeah, like how... Because you told me you can drink as you run, right? I've heard you say that before.
Yeah. Okay, that's a very good point. So and I'm going to actually tie it into this next subject, which is basically let's simplify everything, right? Boil everything down to the most basic stuff. Why do you need to fuel during exercise or a race, right? We'll say it's the same thing. 1 is hydration, 2 is calories, 3 is electrolytes, which is, salt, potassium, magnesium, right? It's electrolytes because you sweat it out. When you sweat it out, you kind of look like there's like salt on your face, right? That's electrolytes that you're sweating out. So hydration, calories, electrolytes, which, well, whatever, we'll get into it, and some stimulants, which is optional, right? So like caffeine or a pre-workout or something like that. So those 4 different sections is what you're looking to consume throughout your fueling process or your fueling needs, right? What has worked well for me and a lot of other athletes that I've worked with or raced with is separating hydration and calories. So what some people will do is they'll have this drink mix, right? And obviously it's a drink, so it has water, so that takes care of the hydration. It also has electrolytes in the drink mix. It also has calories in the drink mix. And sometimes it even has stimulants, but even without the stimulants, it's basically you're combining those 3 together, right? Yeah. Hydration, electrolytes, calories. I personally don't like doing that, and I don't think it's a good idea, even though it's the simplest thing, because it's just like 1 tub of powder you have to have, right? All you got to do is like mix it in the morning and you're good. I don't like doing that because you're unable to regulate, depending on the situation or day, how much hydration you get versus how much calories. For example, if I'm racing at a 60-degree Fahrenheit, kind of like cool temperature, right? I have a certain amount of calories I want to get in per 45 minutes or per hour or something like that. Again, this is, more complicated than it needs to be. And a certain amount of water I want to get in. Now, the same exact race course, instead at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm going to want to drink a lot more water because it's a lot more hot, right? So I'm sweating a lot more. If I have that same mix, by drinking more water, all of a sudden that means I'm flooding my gut and stomach with so many more calories than the 60-degree example. So being able to separate water and calories, I think, is very important because then you can, if it's hot, you can drink more water and not necessarily give yourself, GI distress or diarrhea in the middle of a race or even a training run because all of a sudden you're like chugging down all these calories that are very rough on your GI tract and system, Right. So what a lot of people will do, especially, again, if you're not working out more than a couple hours, which most people aren't, is for the calories, they'll have either a gel or like a goo, right? Something like a packet gel, or they'll have those chews, whether it's like Gatorade or Honey Sting or any sort of brand has those chews, that little blocks that are like 100 calories each, and you just eat one every 30 minutes. They'll have that for the calories, and they'll carry a bottle of water with some like electrolyte tablets or something in it for the hydration. I think that is the best, for most people, right? The best setup which also gives you the most amount of flexibility, because then you can drink when you're thirsty, slash if it, drink more if it's a hot day, less if it's not a hot day, if you're not really sweating, and still be able to eat at a very regular time, every 30 minutes, every 45 minutes, whatever you decide. And by the way, if you want to figure out how often should you eat, just experiment. There's a whole bunch of science out there, but the best way to figure out is just experiment, So, and to go to your question directly, Melissa, about how much should you drink or when you should drink, the only way you could even ask that question is, first of all, if you actually separate your hydration from everything else, right? So if you have done that, so you have a pocket full of gels or chews or whatever, and then you have a water bottle that you have with you that has water and some electrolytes, you should come in to the workout hydrated, because more hydration means more blood volume, right? Your blood isn't as anyone who if you look at your veins, right? You drink, if you're well hydrated, your veins are more pronounced and more popping. There's more blood volume, which means your blood is able to shuttle nutrients to your muscles much more effectively, oxygen to your muscles much more effectively, and shuttle away waste away from your muscles more effectively. So being hydrated into a workout is great. During a workout, hydrate. If you're working for like 30, 40 minutes, and you need to, maybe not, but whatever. If you're thirsty, drink. Even if you're not thirsty, it's a good idea to drink a bit every 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. And post-workout, obviously, drink as needed. A good way to tell, just in general through a day-to-day life, if you're drinking enough, is just a simple like urine test. Just look at your pee, look at the color. If it's like pale, almost clear white, or like clear, then you're probably too hydrated. If it's very dark, you're not hydrated enough.
What
it's
if you're blind?
Yellow. If you're blind, then you better hope you have a very, very loving, significant other that looks at it for you. But anyway, does that answer the questions?
Yeah.
And that's basically it. I think people overcomplicate workout nutrition, and rightfully so, right? You Google workout nutrition. What's the best this? What's the best that? There's a lot out there.
Yeah.
And a big red flag is a lot of it is produced by nutrition companies trying to sell you their specific thing.
Yeah.
So, or there's a lot, said by coaches or race companies and stuff that are sponsored by specific products, right? I can tell you right now, I'm not sponsored by anything. None of us are sponsored by anything.
Right.
This is literally just what works for most people that we work with, right? I've worked with hundreds of athletes, like whatever. This is just basic. This is a starting point, right? This is not the master plan for everyone. It's the starting point. Start here, figure out what works for you. That's about it. And then, yeah.
So this might be, yes. This might just be me, but I'm still a little bit unclear on because in my head, these gels and electrolytes and all these things are very much intermediate to advanced level of understanding in fitness and stuff. And so if you're just starting out, do you think you need those kinds of things, or like how do you know? You know what I mean? It feels kind of it's a very big place. You
don't ever need any of these things. Okay? If you, especially the first few weeks of running, if all you want to do is just run and see what happens, you don't need any of this stuff. Don't like completely not drink any water and die of, dehydration or whatever. But like, you don't have to buy any of these products. What I would suggest.
So just eat like. Wait, let me see if I can figure this out.
If you're gonna eat the meal more than 1 or 2 hours before you exercise, preferably like 3 hours. If it's gonna be early in the morning, you don't want to do 3 hours. Just eat like a piece of fruit or something before you work out. Do the workout and then just drink some water when you get back home. Like, we're talking very basic, right? And and then once you've been running for a few weeks, even a few months, and you realize like, I'm actually kind of getting into this. I wonder what, whatever, insert thing. I wonder what a gel will do to me. Then you can buy a gel and take it 10 minutes before you work out, or if you have like a 90-minute run or a 1 hour run, take it in the middle, and just see what happens. And then the better thing to do, instead of implementing all of this at once in the beginning, is as you start running, start from zero, and then just add one thing. and then wait like a few weeks, see what happens. Add another thing, see what happens. You know, that way you can like sort of build this tower, and you can actually feel individually what each part does for you. You know.
Mm-hmm. And if you're trying to lose some weight and doing this recreationally, should you be recording your food?
What do you mean?
Like in an app? Sorry.
Oh, like tracking food?
Tracking, yes, that's the word.
Well, that's a whole other question. Okay, so the basics is, again, like we said, if you're going to diet, don't diet while you work out. Right? Meaning, if you have a 7 a.m. run, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 a.m., don't diet then. Right? Because if you go into the workout hungry or weak or flat or whatever it is, your workout is not going to be as strong as it otherwise would be, which means you end up burning less calories, which means you're going to lose less weight, whatever. If you want to lose weight in the other meals or other parts of the day, right? Don't handicap your workout because you want to lose weight. In terms of tracking food with an app, people are notoriously bad at estimating how much food they eat.
Yeah, I know I am, so.
Yeah. One thing that I think is very effective, that's very simple to do, instead of using an app to log it. Well, you can use an app, but don't worry about, like, logging in, like, oh, I'm eating 8 grams. Like, people think 8 grams of chicken, or, I'm sorry, 8 ounces of chicken. People will look at that and be like, it's 4 ounces, or it's 12 ounces, or, like, they're completely off, you know?
Yeah.
So what I would do is, and we could do a whole other episode on it because I feel like it's going kind of long. Yeah. But we'll talk the basics here. One, worry about what you eat, not how much of it you eat. Meaning, if you prioritize eating a ton of vegetables, and it doesn't have to be gross, like bland tasting vegetables, make it, put some like nice like olive oil and vinegar on the Brussels sprout, like wrap it with some bacon, like eat good. If you eat whole foods, and you eat a lot and you prioritize vegetables and things like that, it's kind of hard to eat a bunch of other stuff. And again, we could talk about this another time, but one, I would prioritize what you eat, not how you eat. Right? And the way you would do that is by tracking it. And I don't mean weighing everything and getting really neurotic about that, because that could be a lot of work. Just keep a food diary, right? It could be as simple as that. And just write down everything you eat. Right? Don't worry about how much.
So, today, I ate like a serving of like beef and vegetables and some rice, and then later I ate a banana and like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then just look back on it, right? And then if you're gonna eat a piece of cake or piece of, like, even if you grab like one chip or something, just like force yourself to write it down. Brownies. Right? And by writing it down, you're creating an honest macro view of the types of foods you're consuming. And the first step to do, I would say, is don't eliminate, like, for example, say every day you eat a slice of cake or something, right? Yes, you can look at that and be like, okay, I'm going to stop doing that. My thought is a more productive and more successful method is, instead of eliminating stuff that you should not eat more of what you should eat. And that seems kind of counterproductive, because people think like, oh, I want to lose weight, which means I should be eating less calories. Yes, that's how weight loss works. You have to eat less calories than you burn. But if you combine exercise, which, again, subject for another time, but exercise sends an anabolic signal to your body to build. If you're sending the right signals to your body, and you're consuming more of what your body needs, as in whole foods, and less of what it doesn't eat, you're going to be going in the right direction, right? And by being like, I'm eating these, beef, rice, vegetables, and then a piece of cake. Well, okay, if you have a double serving of vegetables, you're probably not going to be eating as much cake as if you know what I mean?
Because you're going to get full.
Yeah, and in the afternoon, instead of snacking on cookies, have a bunch of berries or something.
Or have some nuts.
Or have some nuts, and then see if you still want the cookie or something.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to cut things out, add stuff in.
Which, by the way, Francesco, I will say, after last night, I told myself that today is my first day of actually restarting all of this, and it is. So.
No, that's good.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's good. So,
Yeah.
does that answer your question, Melissa?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
That
I would
was
say
a
simpler
lot of
is
good
better,
info.
right? You can get all crazy and weighing foods and different things, and there's a time and a place for that. I would say the basic thing to start with, again, just worry about what you eat, not how much of it you eat, and start adding in better foods instead of cutting out foods, other foods.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I think we covered it.
Wait, do we want to talk about whole foods and processed foods?
Sure, we can define that real quick since we just talked about quality of food and for instance,
Yeah.
basically what a whole food, or you want to define what it is, Simon?
Sure.
What's a whole food versus processed food?
You can correct me if I make, but whole foods are basically foods that you get naturally, whether it's animal food, plant-based food, or like food that, anything that you get from nature. Whereas processed foods are foods that go through a process to become what they are. And a lot of that can be really bad for you because the process in which it goes through, they put a lot of chemicals in it, a lot of harmful ingredients to either preserve a food or to make a food the way it is, and that can have not such good effects. Do you want to go more into that?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I had a conversation with someone recently who was trying to tell me that all food is processed because he was like, well, I have a garden, and when I take out vegetables from the garden, I have to quote unquote process those vegetables, aka take the stems off and clean it and things like that. We're not talking about that kind of process, right? Like, be reasonable. Come on, don't be so stupid.
Yeah.
When we say processed, it means that it's going through a like Simon just said, a process that either preserves it, enhances the flavor, does something chemically to the food to make it into a different product, right? And that's all complicated to say that basically if it's in a package, it's probably processed, right?
Most likely.
If you read the ingredient list and there's a whole bunch of words on that ingredient list that you can't pronounce, it probably has some stuff in there that you probably don't want to be eating, right?
Yeah.
Like if you buy, I don't know, if you buy ground meat at the grocery store, and if there's something on there besides meat, like why does it have to be in there? You know? Now some things are necessary, right? Like they might add some ascorbic acid or things like that, which is vitamin C basically. Not all things are bad, but for the vast majority of things, keep it simple, right? They
just look at a label of potato chips.
Or like anything in a bag or a package.
Or anything in a bag. Granted, we can get into that another time, but
there are better ingredients to use. But
yeah.
Generally speaking, the simpler you can keep food, right? The more similar to its original state as it either came out of the ground or grew or whatever, it's probably better for you, right?
Yeah.
So that's a very basic definition of whole foods versus processed foods. Another interesting note before we end, whole foods tend to be, so the nutrient density of whole foods tend to be higher than the nutrient density of processed foods. And that could mean a lot of different things, but the point that I want to get to is processed foods, it takes less of it, at least, generally speaking, to fill you up. Or I should say that, so for example, okay, think Whole Foods, right? It's the reason why people take Whole Foods, process them, make them into package, is make them taste better, right? Make them more palatable. So if you stuff yourself with Whole Foods, first of all, it's kind of hard. So the idea that, you're going to gain weight if you only eat Whole Foods, it's kind of hard to eat a ton of calories if all you're eating is Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Right? How are you going to get fat on Brussels sprouts?
Right. Yeah.
Even if you put whole oil, vinegar, even wrap it in bacon or something. If you eat Whole Foods, I'm not saying it's impossible because anything's possible, but if you eat Whole Foods, only Whole Foods, and you work out, like somewhat regularly, especially if those whole foods are consistent of a lot of fats, which fats are important. We'll do another episode on why fats are important in the future, but everything from hormones to weight loss, everything. Fats are very important. If you eat a lot of fats, proteins, and you eat all whole foods, it's kind of hard to get a massive calorie surplus. So,
and when you say whole foods, I'm assuming this does not mean organically grown versus non-organically grown. It just means literal vegetable.
Yeah, organic's a whole other subject. The 5-second pitch is if you can afford organic, if you can buy organic, it's less chemicals, but even a non-organic vegetable is better for you than a pack of cookies. So
it's still a whole food.
Yeah. Cool. I think we made the world a slightly healthier place, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Anything to add, guys, before we finish up?
No. I think we about covered it.
Eat some nuts and listen to Run With Chestnut.
Exactly. Run With Chestnut, where you can get all your nut-filled happiness.
And please leave us a 5-star review.
Yep. Leave us 5-star rating and review on iTunes or anywhere else you get your podcast. We are on social media at Run With Chestnut. Go to runwithchestnut.com for our website, clearly, obviously. Yeah. And I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Simon,
it.
Melissa, it's been good.
Yep.
See you guys later.
See ya.